Boom!
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, people.
Scotch and Bummy's here. What's going on?
Woo-hoo-hoo. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers. What is in your glass,
Look
my
how dark
friend?
that is.
I don't know. I like
maple
That
syrup.
would be the signatory. Independent.
Is that an independent
It
bottler?
is.
I think
It
we're gonna
is.
talk
What a
about that.
coincidence.
Happy Thursday,
We
boys.
have a lot of those here.
I don't know where all those came from,
It's mighty good, by the way.
but we hope you've got one
Cheers,
too.
everybody.
Cheers. Welcome to Thursday night, everybody. Let me take a sip of this.
Oh, Rob's in.
Mm.
Robbie's in the house.
Uh-oh.
Let's scroll up and say hi to some people. How about that?
Yep.
There's our pre-show, folks.
Tom R.
Tom.
Hello.
Hey, Jimmy T. And Trooper, are you on an oil rig or are you at home, hopefully sipping
Back
something
in-
good?
He
That's
just
it
says,
from a 35-day hitch. All right.
All
He's home.
right. Good. He's got money in his
he wants to
pocket,
be an
then you know
educated
it.
lush.
Yes. So here you can enjoy some of these.
I'm
Right
not good
on.
with that, but we'll find out.
Good morning, Gerb. Thanks for getting up and joining us for this discussion. Hopefully it's a good discussion. We're going to get into the wide world of independent bottling tonight and talk about a lot of them. Obviously, we've talked about a few of them over the years that we're pretty fond of, but we're really going to dive into it. So hopefully you guys have a few that you can share with us in the chats and the comments. Bobby H.
Bobby H. Bobby J.
And Bobby J. Are you working?
And of course, he's
You
working.
know he is. He always works.
Hi, Gene and the Blocklinger. Was there no pre-show?
There was.
There was a pre-show.
The link was in the
The Discord. I didn't have a chance to do a post on Patreon today, but it's the same. Listen, it's the same link every single week. So just bookmark it.
Yep.
Yeah, we need to be better about
Yep.
that.
All right.
Independent bottlers for the win. I have a feeling Steve's going to have a lot to say
Yeah,
about
he
this.
will.
That's good, though. Hey, Malt Minion. Chad Anderson, I don't know if he said that. And there's Zach, of course. But so before we get started, I wanted to throw a little bit of love towards somebody that shared some stuff with us that you wanted to talk about with these guys. I don't know if we've mentioned it, but let's give these guys a little shout out and talk about. Tell me what this is.
So a friend of the show that lives down in southern Indiana, basically him and his wife are fans of the show. And he has a really, really nice Scotch selection. He reached out to us, I don't even know, like a month or so ago.
like April.
Yeah, like a Facebook Messenger said, hey, blah, 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 Scotch, blah, blah, blah. By the way, my wife and I have created this drink. And he goes on to talk about it, et cetera. I'm like, hold on, what? You got me interested now. Long story short, I guess they used to go to some bar or whatever, and she always brought this fruit-infused water so they can mix it with vodka or something like that. The story's online. But long story short is, him and his wife decided to create their own beverage, and it's called Mom Water. It's Mom Water.
Kid, don't touch that. That's mom's water.
And there's 4 different flavors. It's Karen, Linda, I can't remember the other 2, but there's names in the can, different flavors. What do I have here?
You have Karen.
You have Karen.
Karen, this is lemon blueberry. But it's basically, think of it as fruit-infused water with vodka, and a lot of it.
4.5% ABV.
It's actually really good. My wife loves it. She's tried it. He sent us some samples. I wanted to give him some love. He's in Southern Indiana. If you haven't found it yet, buy some. There's some around here. But it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, it's non-carbonated, so it's like drinking.
It's like water. You have to be
fruit-flavored
careful.
water.
You have to be really careful.
I mean, you put that over ice, you could drink it like
Dangerous.
after mowing the lawn or something. You drink some of that. It's
I don't know
gone.
if you can see it
So,
or not. But
Mom Water,
The lights really
that's
shine
Karen,
on it.
there's Linda, Julie, and
momwater.com, or just do search for Mom Water. But
yeah,
good plug for him. It's a good drink.
I know you
Pretty
can
good.
get it
It's
here
really
in
tasty.
Central Indiana. I don't know how far out they've reached yet, but I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah,
And I
they
wanted to
can't
say-
ship yet, but soon.
So check it out if you guys happen to see
Oh,
that.
he's on, actually.
There
Oh,
it is.
there it is.
So, Bryce, put in the comments where people
Yeah.
can get this because it's very interesting and we want to see you succeed. Good luck to you. And
Oh,
thanks
that's
for sharing a little
Steve,
bit.
could you, or one of the moderators, put the link to their site on our chat for us, please, too? Be great. What do we
So
got, Mark?
what do we have? The topic tonight is independent bottlers.
Yeah, well, Mom Water's an independent.
It's independent.
It is independent,
Can.
right?
Independent canner.
And what independent bottlers are, why you should care. Do you care? Have you ever purchased one? Have you ever got on a limb? And we amassed this list, these bottles. We have more behind us, but we didn't want to put a lot of repeat, independent bottlers. There are way more than that are out there than what we have represented here. And we hope that you guys share some in the chat so we can talk about them. But let's start the conversation with just what an independent bottler is, because I think it's a little bit of a gray area conversation. I mean, if you look it up and do some Googling, you'll see that basically anybody who takes it, first they say doesn't own a distillery. They don't distill their own spirit. They take somebody else's spirit and they bottle it. And that's a loose definition.
It is.
Because there are some independent bottlers now that actually own distilleries.
Yes.
And there are some
Very
that
great.
are more blenders than anything else. And we'll start getting into some of the names here shortly. But one of the things, or some of the things that independent bottlers do and why you should be interested, some of them will literally buy a cask of whiskey from a distillery. So you're a distillery X, I buy a cask that you've already laid down. It's
Yep.
been resting for 10 years or whatever. I buy it and then I go bottle it and I sell it. Now that's kind of a lazy independent bottler. Although they will argue that there is a science to picking a good cask.
Of course, yes.
So that's what they are going to, put their reputation on. Other independent bottlers will come and do the same thing, but then they'll marry it in a different cask. They'll further finish.
They'll buy an aged barrel and then finish it. They may blend it with a couple other barrels from the same place. Yeah.
Sure. Others will go to that distillery with their own casks and say, will you fill this with your distillate? And then they take it to their dunnage and they do what they want to do with it. Then you've got blenders, which technically are labeled independent bottlers like Compass Box, who buy whiskey from several, blend it all up and bottle it under their label. So that's where they get the independent label moniker.
Some
I
of the
guess.
big boys may buy them by the spirit, by the tanker load, take it to wherever the cooperage is, or take it to wherever they will fill themselves, fill their own barrels. Completely different barrels, yeah.
It gets interesting when you see independent bottlers getting creative. And what I mean by that, more so than finishing, but they get creative in the fact of, let's say I'm an independent bottler and I buy casks from you over the last 5 years and I am sitting on these casks. I mix 3 or 4 of those casks together and bottle them, and I can still bottle it under the single malt moniker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it all came from the same distiller. So it gets interesting that they're not breaking the rules. They're not breaking
So
the
many
laws.
fine lines they can
It
walk.
Yeah. So there is a plethora of them. I know we have a website that listed 50, and there's got to be more, because there's one on this bar right now that we just got that I'd never even heard of, and
So-
it's actually quite good.
Let's backtrack for a second and talk about, the title is Don't Overlook Independent Bottlers or Bottles.
Yeah.
So we started our journey many years ago and we didn't know what the hell we were buying, let alone we know the independent bottlers at the time. And we pretty much stuck to the big hitters, I think, for the first part of the year at least. But I remember buying one bottle.
First independent bottle, I think.
I'm not sure who got it or why, but it was at Gordon
Gordon
MacPhail.
MacPhail.
That's
Yeah.
a Mortlock.
Oh, yeah.
And it was my first.
More like
It
15.
was
a
this
burnt
shirt.
toast, yeah.
It was this shirt,
Yep.
and I loved everything about it. And it really kind of stirred the juices for us and said, hey, this was interesting. Who makes this? I didn't know anything about them, etc. So we started getting into that a little bit and started talking about more different independent bottlers, and there's a massive amount.
Yeah. So one thing that's interesting, and Tom kind of brought up the point, which
This
you
one,
go ahead and highlight that one.
That's true.
In the
Very good
U.S.,
point.
it's a very different business in that you have a massive spirit producer that makes liquid for
True.
lots of bottles. So
Lots
are they independent bottlers? They technically are, but it's their brand. So they buy spirit, make it their brand. I think it's different than like in Scotland, where the rules may be a little more restrictive, and the bottles typically will say who developed the
Distilled.
spirit. Whereas a lot of those American bottlers that buy MGP, they don't say distill at MGP for X. They just call it their brand.
Also, a big difference here. I think those companies that are purchasing that whiskey from that huge mothership, if you will, Tom, they can actually call themselves whiskey makers because they're sending in a mash bill to that company. They're saying this is what we want produced, distilled for us. Whereas over in Scotland, independent bottling is literally me just showing up at your distillery, sampling some casks and purchasing it, or just purchasing raw distillate.
Yeah.
So there is a difference, but there is a similarity. And just to be clear, the SWA changed some rules. I don't have the exact date burned in my memory, but there were two rules. The first one said that you weren't allowed to ship any NGP bottles. Yep, there you go. Talking about NGP. The first rule from the SWA said you were not allowed to ship Scotch whiskey out of Scotland in a wooden barrel. In other words, once it left Scotland, if it was in a barrel, it could not be bottled and still called Scotch. That's it. It's now not Scotch
It's
anymore.
now UK spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they extended that and added a section C to that part B, if you will, that said you couldn't even send Scotch out in glass bottles out of Scotland and still call it Scotch unless it had retail labels on it. So they're very protective about Scotch. And I think we all already knew that's what the SWA did.
Yeah.
But back to your backup track up, let's go back to the square one. We started with Gordon MacPhail. We don't have a Gordon MacPhail here. We did, and we've gone through a few. Gordon MacPhail is probably one of the most popular that you'll see on a shelf. You can walk into pretty much any liquor store or any big liquor store, Total Wine, definitely, stuff like that, and you're going to see a Gordon MacPhail. Gordon MacPhail has, they're one of the oldest, if not, I think they may claim to be the oldest, but I think Cadenheads is the oldest. Or let them thumb wrestle over it. I don't care. But one thing that's different is Gordon MacPhail actually owns a distillery now. They got into the business of distilling, and so they own a distillery under a particular label that still produces and bottles under that label, and Gordon MacPhail still independently bottles. So that's a little bit different. But why do you care about it? So you walk into a liquor store and you see a Gordon MacPhail.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about walking into Total Wine. So we took some friends before that were kind of into Scotch and bourbon, and they walked into Total Wine and they were like, oh my gosh, it's massive, right? Especially if you go down the whiskey aisle and you see all the different IDBs. There's tons of them there. Berry Brothers is a huge one. Gordon MacPhail, and so yeah, but you also see all the major brand names as well. So do people pass them up because they don't know what they are, right? They're like, what is? I don't know what that is. I can read the label, and sometimes the labels, I don't know if we have one here, but they're not very explanatory what it is inside the bottle. So you have to pick it up, you have to examine it, right? I got a Berry Brothers once, and it was a Blair Athol. And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. And it was like 19 years old. And it was like, $150. I'm like, I give it a shot. It was amazing. It was amazing. And since then, because I loved it so much, you decided to get this one as a gift for me.
I saw this one online. I'm like, I know you're going to love that. I mean, it's a Blair Athol. It's only 12, but it's a signatory. I've had great luck with signatory. Everybody loves them. And then I saw the color of it and the sherry cask finish. I'm like, man, Drew's going to love that. That's a Scotch Fairy bottle.
Right there it is.
But, I don't want to tell people that all IBs are created equal.
Correct.
Because they're not. Okay, there are a lot that are doing great things. Some are big, some are small. Your Gordon MacPhails are huge. You got other companies, probably like this one here, that are small. Single Cask Nation is not that large. Cadenhead's huge. So there's differences. And yes, there are some that are just going out there and buying the casks that the distilleries don't know what to do with. This doesn't fit into our portfolio after 12 years. Hey, let's off it to this.
Give a discount cask.
So
the clearance rack in the Deanson Distillery.
But there's also some very reputable IBs that have been around for 150 to 200 years that know what the hell they're doing and actually are sitting on massive stockpiles of casks.
Whiskey Barrel, Gordon MacPhail, they have warehouses full of them.
Exactly. So let's not overlook that. And quite frankly, you could even make the argument that a barrel pick for a company, for a liquor store, could be an independent bottling of that distillery.
When Wine Table has a maker's mark. Yeah.
Right. This is a Dominock, but it was bottled for the whiskey barrel, right? I mean, technically, it's an independent bottle of it because it's not coming from the distillery. That's not their.
It's not their brand, yeah.
But it's really a whiskey barrel pick, really,
Yeah.
But it's like I said, it's kind of a gray area conversation.
So here's some top 20.
Are you sharing this?
I can. Yeah. Hold on.
Why don't you share the screen and we'll. This is a good website to look. And then I want to go through the comments and see what people are saying about IBs because there's probably some out there that we've never heard of.
And talk about why I'm doing this too, the giveaways for tonight.
Oh, yeah. So what are the giveaways? Tonight, you guys, for those of you who are watching, we only have 53, so there's I mean, that's
Pretty
better
good
odds
chance,
for
yeah.
you guys. We're going to give away some stuff. So, viewers that are on tonight, if you're not a patron, you're going to be eligible for a free coin giveaway.
Yep.
We're going to give away a coin.
It's one of the Scotch coins. Yeah.
And then for our 2 finger pour patrons, we've got a separate list of you guys. The lucky winner of that will get a 2-ounce sample of one of the bottles on the bar. You pick
You
it.
get to pick it.
So the 3 finger and above patrons are going to win. The one lucky winner will get 2 2-ounce samples. So you get to pick 2 bottles to get samples from. Or, I mean, I guess if you want, you could do 1 bottle of 4-ounce, but
It's true.
I really would hope that you would split it up just so you don't kill the bottle. But anyway, so we are going to give some stuff away, and it's going to be fun. And we hope that you guys stick around for the giveaways.
We'll do the first one in maybe 15 minutes or so.
Right.
So, Andrew, you want to talk about this? This is a site you found.
Yeah, so this is a site. It's dated like 2016, so it's not a brand new site, but it lists the top 20 independent bottlers. Now, if you scroll up a little bit, it talks about right there. It says, as I type, we have whiskeys from about 70 independent bottlers on the Whiskey Exchange website. So that's an example. I think this is a Whiskey Exchange.
It's our blog.
So they've got 70 independent bottlers just on there. And these are the top 20 that they recommend. So Adelphi, if you've ever had
Which
one
is
of those,
great.
you
Yeah.
can't beat it.
Getting ready to have one right now. I'm going to pour this Dalhuane. It's a 12-year-old Dalhuane, and it's getting
Look how
short.
dark it is.
I
Jeez.
know.
It's
You know, Travis Faircloth made a comment while you were talking and said, there's a lot of sherry independent bottlers.
That's
Well,
true.
Travis, you
These
had
are
a
all
lot
just
to
his.
do with me buying a lot of these. Thank you very
It's
much.
your fault, Travis.
So Berry Brothers, you guys have seen those. I'm not as familiar with
I've
that.
had a lot of those. The Total Wine has it, carries a lot of those as well.
Yep.
Okay.
And there's one that I was just looking at not too long ago. I can't remember what the bottle was, but I was very close to pulling the trigger. So
So Cadenheads owns Springbank, talking about that here in Glengyle. So they own that. But yeah, Cadenheads, we got a Cadenheads here. Douglas Lang, do we have any of those?
We have one in the past.
we
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
I might have one at home. So one thing
Yeah,
about
Big Pete,
Cadenheads
yeah.
is I'm pretty sure they claim to be the oldest.
oldest.
Yeah. Scotland's oldest independent bottler, established in 1842.
Yep. Right on their label.
And honestly, like a quick little side story to that, Drew. Do you remember when our friend Roy Aquavite, we were visiting Edinburgh,
Yeah.
and he wanted to take us on a little tour of Edinburgh, and we went to the Scotch whiskey experience, and then he said, "You guys need to go by Cadenheads," and we're like, "Well, what's Cadenheads? I guess we can go." And we walk in, and the shop's really small. Pretty small place. Got a big chalkboard that they're writing all the stuff that they've got that day. We walk in, and the young man, he was a pretty young guy. They got a barrel with a table on it. That's where they do their tasting. He looks up like he saw a ghost, and we're like, "Hey!" And he's like, "I'm watching your video right now." And we were
And
like,
this is only after like 2 years of doing
Yeah.
something. So we're like,
"What? You're watching our video?" So we walked
Sorry.
out.
We apologize.
we videoed ourselves coming in. Had a great time. Had a great experience in Cadenheads. They've been around a long time. And
It
they
was a
put
really
out-
cool place. Like you walk in, it was like a Harry Potter, like just everything stacked everywhere. I mean, it was a small room, but there was not an inch not used. I mean, everything, barrels, whiskey bottles, and like 12, 20 people in there. It was crazy how much stuff was filled in
They
there.
had 3 quarter casks in the corner that you could get a bottle and do your own blending of the 3 quarter casks and mix your own bottle. And
We
bind
were
it.
Talking about
out.
independent bottler.
Right.
We were geeking out for sure. So that's a true experience when you go to Scotland. That you gotta go check that place out.
But I actually have several bottles of Cadenheads on it. They're unique bottle shapes. Great company. They put out some really good whiskey. But keep going. I didn't mean to sidetrack your.
Gordon MacPhail is the other one.
Yeah.
We talked about them
So,
already.
and Gordon MacPhail just recently purchased Ben Romack, right?
Yep.
Mhm. Hidden Spirits, which I've not seen.
Never.
have not
Ian
either.
McLeod, yeah, lots of those.
Right. So Ian McLeod puts out. It's independently bottled. I get. It's
Well,
not.
they do Smokehead.
Right.
Yeah, so they do that. They have brands, and then they have
correct.
some of
Independent.
the brands are independent bottling.
Right.
See, McAlp's Choice I haven't seen. Malts of Scotland. We can go
Some of
through
these.
Malts
Oh,
of
look at that. Scotch Malt Whiskey Society.
Signatory, yeah.
And Signatory. Yep.
Yeah. So we got SMWS. We got Signatory. Actually, there was did I not bring? I didn't. Doggone it. I missed a bottle. I was going to bring. I've got some Signatory special range. Signatory's got different different, I don't want to say ranges or groups of, but they've got these ones, which are their cask strength collection. How's that? And they've got another collection, comes in a silver can. I can't think of the name of them right now. I've got a couple of them, but Signatory's huge. They've got a huge range of them. I've had a couple of other ones that I didn't see. Lady of the Burn, I believe.
Yeah.
Bob H bought me a bottle of that for my birthday a few years ago. I was at Bunnahabhain. It was delicious.
What was Tom talking about tonight too?
Archive.
The archives, yeah.
Yeah. Archive
Whiskey.
whiskey. Kind of interesting. It's pretty small. They don't put out a huge release every year, but what was 2020? Scroll down a little bit. 2020 had how many bottles?
Are you sure-
I think like I'm not sure.
2, 4, 6,
Seven bottles.
7 bottles they released. Now, I don't know how many of each bottle they had, what the release had, but they're not huge. But anyway, you're not going to see every one of these bottles on every shelf in every liquor store you go into.
Absolutely not.
Some of them you'll never see there, and you just have to know how to acquire them, whether it's online. And I think everyone's got their own. So Travis Faircloth said North Star. We're going to go through the comments here in just a second, and back all the way up and see what people are saying.
Okay.
But and then after that, we'll talk about the process of buying them and what you really need to look through so that you don't end up with one of those crap bottles. I've been very fortunate, been very lucky. I don't think I've ever had one. I've never opened an independent bottle that I purchased and was like,
same here.
I
Same
missed
here.
the boat on this.
I've been more pleasantly surprised than anything else.
Absolutely.
The only time I've done that is when I picked the wrong flavor profile.
Oh,
So they're pretty descriptive on what they put in the bottle and what it's going to
true.
taste like.
True.
And if I'm like, I'll just pick a random known distiller, but I don't look at the details of what's in that bottle, it may not be my wheelhouse. So I'm like, maybe this wasn't the best purchase for me. So that's the key. You always have to look at that, because even if you think the distiller, but it's an independent bottler, you need to look at those tasting notes before you buy it, because it may not be what you think it's going to be. That's
Agreed. So why don't we?
Yeah,
real
we've got
quick-
some things to talk about when it comes to that. So you want to give one of the giveaways before we go to the comments?
Let's see if one of the patrons that are on the night can get lucky here. And let me share the screen. Give me a second here.
And the count's going up. Do you want to wait for more people to get on, or should we give the lucky ones that were here early a shot?
I say we go for it now, and we'll do the 5-finger pour now. All right. So here it is.
So this is a 2-finger pour.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, 2-finger.
2-finger pour giveaway. Whichever patron, a 2-finger patron wins, gets to choose
A 2-ounce sample.
Is this 2 and above? So 3 and 4 fingers can win.
No, this
too?
is just
the
two.
twos.
Just the
Okay.
2 fingers. Yeah, we have most of those. So,
So random number.
Siri,
Are you
okay.
sharing this?
yes.
Okay.
You
So
can
let's see.
have Siri
Yeah,
pick a number
between
1 and
20.
25.
These are our 2s. Or are you looking at 3s?
These are 2.
These are 2s.
Those
sure?
are 3s.
Are they 2s?
I was gonna
You're
say
right.
I saw Bob and KB. I'm
One
like,
and,
I don't think KB's a 2-finger pour.
1 and 56. So
Yeah, there we
There
go.
we go.
There we go. That's better. Okay.
pick a number.
Come on, Siri.
Pick a random number between 1 and 56. Doesn't want to do it.
It says 1 second.
Come
Did
on.
Siri forget how to count? 25.
25.
25 is the number. Glenn Anderson. Glenn, if you're on, you're a lucky guy. If you're not, we're going to choose your 2-ounce sample and send it to you. So, eeny, meeny, miny, go. Which one do we have the most of? No, I'm just kidding. So, Glenn, I hope you're on. If you're not, like I said, we'll try to figure out what's the best one to send to you. But nevertheless, so what was Jasmine saying there? Let's back up and let's talk about. I want to see what people are saying about independent bottlers, and I want to start a conversation with you guys in the chat about your experiences with independent bottlers. Good, bad, and different. If you've had some bad ones, I'd love to hear about them. I mean, that's how we learn here. But go on up. We've missed quite a bit. I got long in the tooth. You need to tell me shut up.
All right, let's start with this.
No,
one
it
here.
doesn't help.
So here we go. Gerben. My best signatory is a Ben Riach 2000, a super bottle, and Gordon MacPhail Bunnahabhain 1991. They are really amazing. Yeah, signatory does not mess around. They make good stuff so far.
And
bottle good stuff.
McPhail's been around forever.
True.
So that's good to hear. So Travis Faircloth, got to give some props to SV putting the cask history info on the Blair Athol label. Very transparent. You won't find that on a Glendrow or a Glenallachie single cask. They only mention the final cask. Okay, I'm down with that. That's fair enough. Honestly, in my experience, the independent bottlers that provide more information are more successful because we don't know what's in it. What makes me want to roll the dice on this? You've got to help me. You got to persuade me, and that you do that with information.
Yep.
One of the best independent bottlers, Brian says, I've had was 5 Lions Glenallachie 8-year-old second fill Olo. 5 Lions. Never had one.
Yep.
Second fill Oloroso?
What's so tell me about 5 Lions.
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
Yeah, where did you get the bottle? Online? Was it a local purchase? I'm trying to think if they have something like that up at V&T, but I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Colin, I feel like I barely buy OBs now. Chicago is flooded with quality IBs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see that because if you go through a fair amount of whiskey, Macallan 12-year-old is the same every year. If you want to try a Macallan that's different, you have to go independent. So that's a fair way to do that.
That's really a good point. I never really kind of thought. And some people are fine with it. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know, our grandfather's whiskey guys were they drank the Glenlivet 12 or Glenmoe 10, and that's all I want for the last 40 years.
So I knew a guy that bought the 175 of Dewar's White Label, and he put it on the rocks every night and for decades.
Right, and good for him. That's what he wanted,
What he
and
did.
it fit what he needed. But I honestly really love the fact that I can explore and get a little bit of a variety and stay inside my wheelhouse, if you will.
That's the thing that's so amazing. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, German said that there was one he missed, is the Old Particular, the unnamed distillery from Orkney.
Scapa?
So
there's the key. Go ahead.
So here's another question. Only the stuff for work says only independent I had I didn't like was a 40% ABV bottling. So do you see a lot of lower end IDBs? I don't think so. I think most of them that I've seen are decent. Like,
that's a good point.
I don't know.
So they don't. I can tell you this: they don't all bottle at cask strength. I guarantee you that.
No.
I mean, there's some of these Adelphis aren't cask strength, but
they're not 40.
No, I don't know anybody doing 40.
47 here. I mean, I'd be surprised if any of these or anything.
What's that Ushi?
Yeah, that Ushi might be
57.
Shit.
So I don't think any of them
Hart
are.
Brothers. 58.
Huh. That's a curious question.
That is really that's an idea. I didn't think about that.
Huh. That is different.
I was jumping on me here.
Uh-oh. The funny relationship with independent bottlers, time for a dram. They can shine a light on a distillery that underwhelms with their OBs, then frustrates you further.
It's true, because I've had bottles of OB that I'm like, that's okay. And then I've had an IDB and I'm like, well, that's really good. I mean, I think it's fair to say.
So why?
Now, I'm not going to say this because I actually like Dalmore, but I think there's a lot of people that will say the Dalmore normal, bleh, the IDB versions of it. Yes, absolutely. So I don't know.
I've had a Dalmore IDB that wasn't that fantastic.
Really?
Well, I think that the independent bottler is given a little bit more freedom to be creative. I think
it's true.
Well, that is correct. Yes.
For many reasons. And so that's probably where that you get stuck with that, especially in the fact that, if the distillery is putting out good distillate, they make a good distillate. It all comes down, we've said it so many times, it comes down to that wood. It comes down to maturation. And the independent bottler might have access to different casks and can do stuff with it. And they may be able to sit on it a little bit longer. I think that there's different restraints and constraints, I should say, on the distillery itself, especially if you're owned by a mother company that's saying, pump your shit. I don't know.
Yep.
This is an interesting point Bree makes about really boring labels. She must be talking about that other bottle, the 8.
Five lines.
Yeah, but overlooked, but ended up going back for more bottles. I think that's probably true on a lot of IDBs. In general, maybe it's because it's more expensive, or they can't brand it because of marketing reasons. So they have to say it's just because even on the signatory, like they're notorious for, you have to really get your glasses on to read what is this. Right. And so most people that are, let's be honest, with my marketing hat on here, when you're going to buy something, you usually look at things with your eyes first, right? So
that's why you use coloring. That's why you use.
Why do you think
these are all dark?
Right. That's your profile. But the labels, right? It's what you're going for. And so if you're buying something that doesn't have a big marketing shtick to it, and it's just something like this, are you not going to buy it because I don't know what that is. I don't know it's a Blur Athol. I don't know what's a Macallan or whatever. I mean, I think it's a fair point.
Like this Hart Brothers label. Quite honestly, if that was on a bottom shelf next to that Five Lions or in any liquor store, and it's sitting right now on the bottom shelf next to Inver House
or Cuddy Sark.
Yeah, I mean, the
no one would know unless you read it and pay attention to what's going on.
This label is no more interesting than Cuddy Sark's label is.
So that automatically puts IDBs in kind of a little negative world because the leg up on them is, well, they don't know who we are, so we're just going to stand over here and hope people buy us. And I think that these, going to your point of the title, don't overlook them. I think you're going to find some really hidden gems.
And and that's what the Whiskey Barrel has done. So they're starting to brand their stuff, that space of the Apollo series and those kind of things.
It's marketing, man.
They are definitely adding color and vibrancy and
absolutely
and putting the name of the distiller right in front and center on their bottles.
I'll counter Drew and say yes, a lot of people, the masses overlook them, but I can promise you this: when these Adelphis come out every year, they disappear.
But why? Because it's limited. It's limited release, and it's people like this. I mean, there's a core people are buying these.
Yes,
I'm not. This is not for the core people right now. This is for the mass, right? If you're talking about the mass amount of people are hopefully watching this and searching for something that don't know anything about independent bottlers. My point is, most people are going to overlook these because they don't know what it is or don't recognize it. And I'm saying, do some homework. Get to know some of these and give some of these a chance because you are going to be blown away, especially once you really get into this, because there are some magical bottles on this bar right now.
And maybe you just want to have a little bit of fun. Let's say you are a specific distillery person. Maybe you're a Mac lover. You love Macallan. You've been drinking it for years, and that's your zone, right? Let's not use Macallan because they're hard to even find in independent bottles. Let's say you're a Bunnahabhain fan. Love Bunnahabhain. You know what? Pick up an independent bottling of Bunnahabhain and then sit down with it against the distillery and have some fun. Blindfold yourself. Do some blind tastings. See if you can pick out that Bunnahabhain signature in the independent bottle and be like, man, Bunnahabhain's in there, but wow, they did something with this. Or I don't care. I like the regular bottling better. I don't know. One thing I want to point out that I just found out was really neat. I'm reading the back of these bottles as we're all talking. So these are both Adelphis.
Yeah.
So these are both Adelphis. Okay. One is a Dolly Wayne. One is a Ben Rinnes. The back labels are very similar. Okay.
Boring, yeah.
They're boring, and so they have barcodes on them. The Dolly Wayne says approximately 25 standard drinks. Now they're both 70 CL bottles. So approximately 25 drinks in this 70 CL. But the Ben Rinnes, approximately 31 standard drinks. So they expect if you're drinking Dolly Wayne, your drink size is a wee bit bigger.
What? It's got to be
so
ABV, right?
dorky.
It's got to be based on
I can't
ABV.
believe that's what they're.
Is it based on?
Yeah, this is 46% ABV. That's 56. It's about it's ABV.
So
how much alcohol per
so
shot?
Crazy, man.
It's not about. It's how many. So that's the value of the concentrated bottles. You get an extra 6 or 7 grams out of it.
Interesting.
Well, 6 or 7 grams of alcohol.
We're kind of obviously who we are, Scotch Dummies. We're kind of in the Scotch world here, but IDBs aren't just restrained to Scotch, right? It's
correct.
Bourbon. I mean,
well,
rum.
That's what we talked about. The distilled in Indiana MGP. Is that an independent bottler?
I would think so.
I don't think so because they don't bottle. They produce, distill it, and provide it to somebody else.
Well, I know MGP's not the independent bottler.
Right.
All those brands that use MGP spirit are technically possibly.
Other than the fact that they actually gave the ingredient, they give them recipe.
Sometimes.
I wanted to show out Colila. Indy says Colila Indies are way better than regular bottles. So we've got a Colila Indy right here. This is a Cadenheads. This is our only peated one on the bar right now, and I brought it specifically because I knew it fit this guy's wheelhouse. So I wanted him to give the support. This is a 58.8 ABV. It's a bit hot, but whatever. It's I'm interested. That comment was interesting because someone is saying that the independent bottling of a specific brand of a specific distillery is better than the distillery bottling. Can't argue that. Won't argue it. Maybe for that individual,
Depends.
Yes, it's true and good
Depends.
And sometimes it is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Depends on your wheelhouse. Sometimes people overshare things, they over oak things, and the independent bottler won't.
Right.
I like that. I'm not going to say it, but that's pretty funny.
So,
Liars.
but let's get into some of these independent. Let's work the
Let's go across.
Go
What do you
across.
got?
So when we start down here on the left, SMWS, independent bottler. They're doing some interesting things. They're actually blending a little bit now. They're into more spirits than just Scotch. But nevertheless, what makes them a little bit different of an independent bottler is you actually have to be a member to purchase their Scotch.
$100 a year.
So it's $100 to join, $75 to renew here in the States. Anyway, membership as independent bottler. But then we get into Signatory, and Signatory's a beast. It's a behemoth. It's a big boy. Been around a while. They've got different, what do they call it? Collections. They've got the cast string collection. They've got
This is the bottle that gives KV like a run for his money. Like Signatory.
They will knock him out.
Yeah.
I do have a bottle of that's just stashed away, but that one knocked him into the
That
next.
one knocked him out. But Signatory does a lot of cast strength stuff.
Yeah, and good stuff. We really appreciate it. This, I have not opened it yet. Obviously, I brought it down. Maybe we will. It's a Carnmore. It's actually produced by, is it Morrison Bottling, I believe? You would think it would be on here. Bottled by Morrison Scotch Whiskey Distillers. Now, the fact that they say distillers, I don't know why, because this is an independent bottle of it. But this is a Strathmill distillery. I went out on a limb because I've never had a Carnmore, whether I'm butchering it right. But you want to try it? Oh, geez, here we go.
Look, I got him to open a bunker bottle.
Poured the Cadenhead. I got no glass.
That's
Dude,
a pretty yeah. So yes.
Cool aisle?
All right, let's do this.
That's good.
I'm excited now.
Let's make sure we.
What's the ABV in this guy?
This is
It's
a
only 47 something.
Is it?
Well, that's nice.
47.5. This should be very approachable.
Right?
Oh, the bunker
It's a
has been
good
broken.
cork.
Synthetic cork?
No, I don't think so.
You need a new glass, Mark?
No, I'll rinse that one.
Don't mind if I do.
So Strathmill.
Dark color. Look at that.
All right.
Red.
Is it
Oily.
not
So
filtered?
we're going to get into
speed.
speed dramming here in the last 20 minutes of the show because we got a long way to go and we're definitely opening a few more of these.
Oh,
So keep up, kids. No.
oh boy.
So this is another whiskey barrel bottle, right? The back home almost right next to, well, right here, right next to the Voyager 1 series.
Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of like their whole marketing thing right now too, right? It's this whole space stuff. We've
It's
got
tight.
one giant leap up there as well.
Yeah, it feels tight on me.
So Strathmill. I don't have a lot of experience with this distillery. I don't have a lot of experience with this independent bottling. Independent bottler. I think I've been very fortunate and lucky in independent bottlers. I've had a lot of help with people that you're going to find in the chat. Folks like Travis Faircloth has helped me acquire bottles like these Adelphis and some of these really dark, because he knows I'm a big sherry fan right now. But that's the part of the community. And if you guys are wanting to wade into the waters of independent bottling and you want to try a few, get involved in the Discord, get involved in the chat. People have a lot of experience and can really lend you.
Yeah, it rejuvenated red wine casks that has been treated with luxurious Oloroso sherry.
So when we first poured this, it definitely needed some time to open. It was tight.
Oh, it is tight.
And now it's starting to get some of that sherry notes out. But yeah, it needs.
Yeah,
it's gonna need some time.
I definitely think this bottle needs time
How old is
to
it?
open it.
Wow,
It's 11 years.
that's some sherry.
Is it really?
Oh my! And the red wine. That's really interesting. Very sugary finish. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it's actually way more approachable, but the very end of the finish kind of had a punch.
It did. It was like
The middle
sherry.
late palate
hey.
middle finish was really, I hate to use the word smooth, guys, but it was like, oh, that's nice and pleasant. And then at the back of the finish, it just kind of freaking came.
Mm.
Okay, so we're gonna let that live for a second, but we are gonna open this guy. We may even get into this, but let's talk about these. So these are independent bottles.
Thanks, Daniel.
From Daniel Clark, thank you. Opening SMWS 11267 Raisin Cane, 19-year-old Loch Lomond finished in a toasted barrique.
Oh, that's gonna be so good.
That is gonna be good. 19-year-old Loch Lomond.
It's really good.
Boy, the finish on that just blows up. It's just a rich cherry sweetness.
It's almost like port wine. It's so
Yeah.
sweet in coating, like a cherry coating in the finish. It's really good. That's kind of another thing about IDBs is that you don't know what you're gonna get. It's kind of like, ooh, is this gonna be a good firework or not?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's really good.
That bottle needs time.
It does.
It's off to a good start.
It does have a good start. Yep.
So whiskey barrel bottlings, right? They got this whole series going with the, I guess, just Apollo. I don't
So
know.
one
call it
giant leap
space,
and yeah,
something or
those are
other.
for the Voyager 1
right.
and 2. Yeah.
We're saying these are independent bottles because they technically are. These are bottles from distilleries that the whiskey barrel had bottled. This one is a Strathmill. So we're going to open this one up next, and it's going to be Strathmill versus Strathmill.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Do you guys want to pour separate ones of this one so we
Sure.
can have them side by side
Yeah,
at the
might
same
as well.
time? All right, so let's do that. All right.
Now we're running out of glasses.
Man, I just feel like I'm on a roll. How's that TikTok go? No, that's bad.
Oh, that's bad. Terrible.
I don't know. I got to get off TikTok, you guys. It's not healthy. So anyway, this is a Strathmill. This one's 14. This one's 11. I think so.
Yes.
Okay. So, but that was red wine. You said this is first fill sherry butt.
Oh,
So very similar.
Well, that one's actually all mostly red wine and then finished in Oloroso. This is
First fill sherry butt, 14-year-old. They look pretty similar, really, don't
they
they?
do.
so what is the name of the bottle?
Back home.
Back home.
Back home almost. So this was, I want to say, their last one in that series. Then they went into these Voyager series.
So is that the same time as the One Giant Leap?
Yes, this is the end. One Giant Leap was the start of that series. This is the end of it. So back home almost. Take a look, Andrew. Looking at color, wow, very, very similar. Maybe
Just as
the back home almost is a tad darker, but it's
So
also
weird.
3 years older.
It's so the nose. There's nothing on it, even with all that sherry.
So I'll tell you what, I think this right off the bat, the first nose, this one's got more of a cardboard, like I get a cardboard smell on it.
Yeah, I can see that on the first one too.
I'm going to let those sit for a second.
While
we
those sit,
talk
I'm going
through
to
this.
get the normal
coin? You wanna give the coin away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So let me get that started, and then we'll start collecting. So I need to do that, and then I need to do this.
Show
Do
that
it.
banner.
Show that banner. Show that beautiful banner.
So you don't have to
footage.
be a patron to get these.
Nope.
Just for being here on tonight, watching us.
That's right. So this is just a giveaway to anybody who's watching who might want to enter for the free coin giveaway. You're more than welcome. I see Scotch down under. Time for a dram. Hey,
Heck yeah.
I like Trooper Henry's comment there.
Running out of glass is a wonderful problem. That's
Good
true.
problem to have.
It's true.
I'm tasting too much whiskey tonight. I don't know if
hey,
glass-
Phil and Deepa. I see Whiskey Mysteries on.
Yep.
Hope you guys are doing well.
Oh, look at Philly. He's on.
Hey, there's my guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. What's good? I miss you too, man. It's good to see you. We are getting into some independent bottles. I hope that you and your fellas, your boys, your little Scotch club there, your whiskey guys are getting into independent bottles. If you're not, give me a shout. You know how to get a hold of me. We can talk through it. So look at Tom is trying to get in on the coin. We'll let that stay open for, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, and then we'll do the giveaway. So we just talked about these whiskey barrels. What do you guys get on this stress mill?
So the whiskey barrel, right? That's it's tight, like you said, but it's all sherry. It's all sherry.
Yeah,
It smells dry to me.
It is. It's a
Short
drier.
finish.
It's not as red and rounded cherry like the wine cask had on it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna put some water in both of these, but it
Ooh.
definitely needs to open up. Some
This
more.
one's a little hotter, isn't it? 61. I knew it. Ooh, hot damn. So yes, I think that one's a little bit. It's funny that it's hotter. Now that doesn't mean they didn't water this one down to bottle it. That's possible. You can do that and get away with it.
Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah.
Good though. Really, it's really a pretty sherry forward. I mean, just like you'd expect.
Yeah, the nose on the red wine. What's it called?
Carn Moor. I gotta be
Moor?
honest. Right now, I think if I had to drink them both neat, I would probably lean towards the Carn Moor right now. But I honestly think that's because the whiskey barrel one is higher ABV, which means a little bit tighter. I think with water, it'll be a little bit more of a fair fight.
This has a little bit more going on right now because of the red wine.
It's got a different layer.
Yeah. Whereas this one is purely sherry at this point, but it's potent sherry, brown sugar.
So I just put a pretty healthy dose of water on this one to bring it from 61 probably into the 54 range, just to get it closer. Anyway, so this is another whiskey barrel. We'll talk about this one, the Ultimate. I want to know if anybody's got any experience with the Ultimate series. It's single malt Scotch whiskey, natural color, non-chill filtered. The Ultimate. I've got a couple bottles of these. I bought two. I've got this one and one other. I bought them for the pure reason of the distillate that's in it. This is an Edward so this is an Edward and it is matured in first fill sherry butt for 9 years. Now, I heard the maturation. I like it. Edward I like it. I'll try the Ultimate. The other Ultimate I have is an Old Pulteney, and it's an 11 or 12-year-old Pulteney, and it's matured in a sherry finish. And why I wanted that is because one day I'm going to sit down with an OP12 and that one, and I'm going to put them head to head, and I hope that I get that Old Pulteney malt forward briny note with the sherry finish. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
That's what I want.
That's the thing. Where did they age that? If they didn't age it near the coast.
You're right. I might exactly. But it was worth the chance. So I have not opened an Ultimate. I don't know anything about them. The Ultimate just bottled a Balakin for that's really so Whiskey Crossing, really tasty. All right. So Whiskey Crossing says that.
What's the cast number on that Eddie on the Edward?
Oh, on the Eddie, it's that's a good number. Good question. Cask number 29.
I have a feeling he may have.
There was a comment up here. Philly says, yeah. So he's like, these independent bottlers sound interesting. Yeah, you need to get some because I think you're missing out. I mean, honestly, that's the point of this whole show is to try and shed some light on. Just don't be afraid to pull a trigger on some of these.
So how do you pick?
That's a great question. How do you pick? Some of it is based on honestly, how I picked is based on what I know of what I liked in the first place. I like the Macallan, or I like the Blair Athol, or I like the Lefroy, whatever it is. Pick something. Start with something like that. I would say first because you can trust it somewhat.
Yeah, see this is exactly why Scotch Women's got in, because you walk into your liquor store and even with all the brands, there's a million choices. So with this, it's like a whole nother layer of choices.
It really is
exponential
because now you've got brands, plus you got their bottlers and their own things. And so I would argue that reading the tasting notes will get you close.
But expect it to be different. I mean, you never know it's going to be. It might be. I'm just saying.
If you don't like peat and it says a hint of smoke, don't go there.
Yeah.
Just don't even go there. Even if it's a brand you like and they put it in an ex-Lefroy cask or something to pull up a little smoke. Nope.
So I would say couple points. Number one, start with a distillery that you trust and you enjoy. No, in other words, you
Yes.
wouldn't be drinking that distillery if you didn't like their distillery. If you didn't like their spirit, you wouldn't drink them. No matter what cask they put in it, there's just something off about it. So if you're, like I said, Macallan, if you're a Macallan person, then that's a distillery you trust. Number two, when you read the notes, more importantly, pay attention to the maturation. If it, understand what it aged in. If you at least give those two notes, and then you can actually pay attention to the color, especially if it's natural, coloring. Honestly, I'm a huge sherry fan. So right off the bat, when I see these bottles, I'm like, all right, I already know. I got a pretty good idea what that was matured in. Let me give the details into it. And so I get into the details and I'm like, okay, first fill sherry butt. Okay, all right, I can buy it. And so it's a matter of, if you do a little bit of research, give a little bit of thought into it, you probably are going to make a good pick. Now, not to sell our product or anything, but if you get into the Discord channel, which it's free, so it's not like I'm selling anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, throw the question out there. You're not going to get bad advice. People, there are so many people in the Discord. Somebody's either had it or have an experience with that independent bottler.
It's free whiskey, not just Scotch. It's free whiskey advice.
Absolutely,
from
you're
pros,
right.
Honestly, because they're going to tell you, and from experience, like, what do you like? What's your flavor profile? How much money you want to spend? What do you think of this? You should go for boom, and you're gonna get
and they'll tell you where to even buy it.
Yep. Before we forget, guys, I want to do a quick shout out to
Mamuka
1977. Good.
I hope that's your birth year, man. Born in the 70s, I can drink to that.
Cheers. Thank you for the super chat.
Cheers. Thank you. Well, I'll dang it.
So I don't know. Okay, pick these two guys. Let's talk about the Strathmill.
So this is the back home almost is, I would say, a semi sherry bomb. It's very deep sherry, brown sugar, sherry notes.
I think it's spicier.
Maybe
I need more water.
But it's not like it's just nice. It's high ABV, so you got to water it down, and water really helped a lot. But on the
I'm getting blueberries on the Kenmore again. Kenmore now. So I think that's a difference. I essentially I would say they're very similar in their flavor profile. They both are sherried. I think the Kenmore has like blueberries and some of that other layering
candy. It's sweeter.
It has more dimension to it, and it's, I like the approachability of it right out of the bottle. Yep. I mean, adding water actually makes it even.
I didn't put any water.
They're both very flavorful,
but they're different. They're different profiles a little bit here.
Both from the same distillery. That's the point. That's kind of the beauty of independent bottling.
Yeah. So if you were taking notes, you think, okay, Strathmill sherry finished. Probably a good bet. You can go any independent bottler that has a Strathmill that's sherry finishing. It's probably gonna be good spirit. Now the question is, now where do you go from there?
Well, now we just said there's differences.
Yeah,
so
there are
differences.
But both of these are good.
Right. So
if you like sherry,
none of them are bad. That's for sure.
Sure. So I just put a little water on the Kenmore. I want to see what it does to it, but I put more water on this one. I'm 61%. Coming out of the freaking gates pretty hot, right? So I want to see what they're going to do. But I
don't know anybody that actually drinks a lot of cat strength whiskey at cat strength. It's just too hot. I mean, you lose so much flavor from it.
So I challenge each of you guys, the next time you're out at a liquor store, someone pull the trigger. If you pull the trigger on an IDB, independent bottler, shoot us, tag us on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, and show us what you got. I would love to see what you have and get your thoughts on it, because I think that you're going to be kind of amazed at some of these independent bottlers and what you're going to get out of them. It's a surprise. I mean, and I would love to hear the negative stuff too. If we're wrong and say you've got one that says this is terrible, let us know. Share with us. Let us know. Tag us on Instagram or Facebook.
Can we post a link to the Discord so people can have those? So we are running close to time, so we do need to make sure, if you want a chance to get a Scotch for Dummies coin, hashtag S4D coin in the comments. It will automatically connect that.
Yep.
Do you want to do the 3-finger pour or higher?
Sure, we can do it right now. Yep.
All right. So Mamuka says they're hit and miss. I want to know about the misses. Mamuka 977. Tell me about your misses.
So this next giveaway is for 3- and 4-finger pours who are $20 or more per month.
Yep.
Those people help us out so much. $5 are great. They kind of give you that baseline. those 3 and 4 finger pours really
They're the ones that that keep the lights
they
on.
keep they really
So
do.
1 and 25, right?
Yep,
Okay.
between 1 and 25.
Let's see who is going
Now,
to win.
admittedly, if
Mm.
we get picked, we'll
We're not in there.
give. Yeah, we are.
I am.
Oh yeah, we are, aren't we?
But we'll skip. We'll redo it. We'll redraw.
Right. So
I'm not sure where we're on there.
we're patrons of our own channel. I mean, how can we not be?
yeah, we
but
got-
anyway,
Pick a random number between 1 and 25.
These are for 2-ounce samples of what's on the bar. Numero 12, John Kranz.
Kranz.
John, you lucky dog.
All right.
You lucky guy.
So he can pick 2 bottles from this and from the bar.
Or
tonight.
we're gonna pick him for him because he's not.
Is
on.
John on?
I haven't seen him. We're telling people if you like single barrel, single cask offerings from the distilleries, then independent bottlings are worth checking out. Stuff Works says it. You're absolutely right. The vast majority of independent bottles, I shouldn't say that. There are a lot of independent bottles that are single casks. Not all are. Some of your bigger hitters are not single casks, like your Gordon and MacPhail's will have Mortlock 15 first, which is not a single cask bottling for them, but it's because they purchased large quantities from that distillery. But there are a lot that are single casks or very small batched, very limited runs. So some come and they go very quickly. There are some fans of some. Just found you guys a couple of days ago. Make working late and through lunch much better, even if I can't have a dram. So my first live, listen driving home and poured a glass. Peter Newton, awesome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining it. Get involved in the conversation. That's where the beauty begins. That's where the rubber meets the road for us. So get on the Discord, get involved in the conversation, and help us learn, hopefully with you.
Yep.
So let's finish out the run real quick while we're doing those giveaways. We Adelphis. Adelphis are ones that I want to allude to that disappear pretty quick, and they're harder to find. All of the Adelphis that I have, I've gotten online overseas with the help of folks in the Discord, aka Travis Faircloth. You know, I love you, brother. But honestly, if you want in on these ones, you got to be savvy and you got to be ready to pull the trigger when they happen. But I've not had a bad one yet. There's Adelphi's top notch.
Yep.
Cadenhead. We talked about Cadenhead. They've been around a millennia. They do what they do and they do it really well. If you're ever in Edinburgh, go into that shop. It is very Harry Potter-esque.
Very cool.
Very cool. Hart Brothers, right? Is that what we got here?
Yeah.
I got a couple of these, man. I got several of them at home that are unopened. But we've also had really good luck with them.
That's a Glendronach.
Yeah, this is a Glendronach independent bottle. That's why we have it, because it's a Glendronach, and there's not anybody that I know that doesn't love Glendronach.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So how could you go wrong with it? You had to try it, and no, it's not disappointing. No, it's not a Glendronach single cask, right? But we didn't expect it to be.
Yeah,
This
we're
is
not
an
opening
independent
that
bottle. Did you notice how I reached
that was
for it?
good, though.
I did. I tried. But
And our last one is I'm moving on.
So there's
here.
2 more. There's well, hang on a second. We were talking about those whiskey barrels. So I mean,
gotta
we did
open
do
that one.
this.
We're
we
not
should do
opening that
Oh,
one.
geez, damn.
No.
Okay, I'm trying, guys. I'm
He's
really
trying.
So let's talk about the Octave. You picked this one up.
I picked this one up
about it.
Yeah, so this is a Duncan Taylor, the Octave series that they have, where they will take a barrel and then they will put it into Octave casks, which are much smaller sherry wood casks that they designed for this. And then so he pulls that rich wood flavor out, and then so to enhance it, to finish it, and then they bottle it. And this was a 19-year-old Deanston, actually reasonably priced for a 19-year-old Deanston, so I can't complain about it. Just a little bit left, maybe a 2-ounce pour left if people want to pick that.
Right.
Yeah.
Sabrina, I don't. If you can't find them where you live, literally get online and try to find them. And if you need help on shopping online, you can always reach out.
Email us or get on Discord. We'll help you out. Seriously, he owes us a online video anyway for shopping online. But there's
so Gerben may be able to help.
Gerben can too.
Sabrina
Yeah.
too.
But I've got plenty of experience on doing that, and tons of people on the Discord and in this chat have bought online. We all are pretty
So let's wrap it up, and then we'll do our draw here.
Yeah,
But
so
I do want to talk about this last bottle.
So this last bottle is it's from Ushki. This is the independent bottler that also bottled No Nonsense Whiskey's bottle. So this came as due to some mess up in the shipping and things like that. But this is a 11-year-old Glentalkers.
Hang on a second. Give me a pull.
It's really good.
57.5. It's really it's a nice whiskey. I kind of liked it. A bottle, these kind of shoulder bottle with a glass
cork.
It's really kind of cool.
Very nice.
Yeah. So again, how would you have known about them? The only reason I knew about them is because No Nonsense Whiskey.
It kind of goes back to, it's like, what are you buying it for? Are you buying it because you're interested in the history and the whiskey that's inside the bottle, or are you looking at it because you wanted to say the marketing on your bar? That's a lot of it too. So I think at the end of the day, I think it's interesting that if you're getting into Scotch or even bourbon, rum, whatever, you should check out some independent bottlers, because I think you're going to be really surprised. There's some really good stuff out there.
Right. I mean, honestly, I'll tell you, with as much experience as I have on independent bottling, buying online, I don't know if I would have went here. I really don't. I'm like, Ushki, I wouldn't have even known that was Scotch. But now that I do, and I have the bottle in my hand, I read it, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is a Glentalkers. All right, there's a check. Ding. First fill bourbon barrel. Okay, that's standard par for the course. 11 years old. That's good. They give me the distill date, the bottle date. I'm interested. I got to try it. So I pour a dram, and I get into it, and I'm like, that is pretty good whiskey. I mean, it's good for them. You know, who the hell are these people? I want to know more. So honestly, the next time I see the name Ushki,
you're going to pay attention.
All right. I'll be like, well, I got to pick that up and look. I know there's something underneath the next layer, and good, bad, or indifferent, I'm going to give it my attention.
So don't be afraid to pull the rug out and look at other people, because just because there's big hitters out there and names which you appreciate and love, there are plenty of other things out there to try. I mean, honestly, there's thousands and thousands of bottles out there you can try.
Yep.
So, all right, guys. So thanks so much for this. It's time. You literally have 60 seconds. I'm going to pick. We've got 32 people. 72 people 72 people that are signed on. So if you haven't done it yet, do it right now.
Eeny, meeny, money, go.
Yep.
Hey, Jason Henry. Get in on the free coin draw. Pound S4D coin, going once, going twice.
And do us a favor real quick. If you haven't, please hit the like button. That's super important for us on our YouTube analytics. It helps us a lot. So
hey,
everyone, please hit like right now.
Out of curiosity, just hang on. We have two things that we need to do. We're going to go a few seconds long tonight. Right. So we are going to just hang on. But damn it, we're 7 subscribers away from 43,000. I thought we'd make it during the live show. I'm sorry, so we can't celebrate that. But let's do the coin, and then I want to sign off.
Yeah,
I want to sign off with something a little special.
All right, let's do this. You guys ready?
Yep.
I like this. This is fun because it flashes their name and their thing, right?
Yep.
So who is it?
Who's going to win the coin? Trooper Henry.
Oh man, I love it.
Bravo.
I'm glad you're back on solid land, my friend. I hope you're gonna pour one on tonight with some good whiskey. Yep. Good for you.
Send your address, scotchfordummies@gmail.com, so we can ship it to you.
Yeah, so he knows where to send the owl.
Yep.
Actually, it's just gonna be mail.
That'd be mail.
Yeah, USPS can send this one.
The owl's on break.
But we not to end on a somber note, but we do want to raise a glass and a silent, sort of a moment of silence, if you will. Last year, we were set to do our big Scotland trip. We were calling it Busload of Dummies, Invade Scotland. And we had done some homework. This guy did a lot of work talking with several different companies and people that might help us out. And we finally landed on a company by the name of High Spirit Tours. Yeah. High Spirit Tours. And the owner and proprietor of High Spirit Tours, Grant Muir, worked with us, ended up being a really nice guy. I think he put together and was flexible enough to meet our needs and what we wanted. And then he ended up becoming a friend of the channel. He was in the Discord channel. He was posting pictures. He was an old antique guy, a car guy with a Scotch guy. He was always posting pictures of distilleries. Very nice man. Talked to him several times. Grant. Anyway, we weren't able to do the trip because of COVID. We postponed it. we're in contact, going to reschedule this hopefully for 2022. Well, we learned this week from Grant's sister that Grant passed away unexpectedly. We don't know details on it. All we know is that Grant's no longer with us, and we're heartbroken. And selfish reasons, it puts us back to square one when it comes to our tour. But more importantly, I think we lost a friend in the whiskey world and someone that we were enjoying the journey with, and we're going to miss him. And we want to just raise a glass, moment of silence for Grant Muir, Highland Spirits. We're sorry that we weren't able to come and make the trip with you.
Hope
but
you're sharing some of that angel share up there and
Roger
enjoying some stuff.
So we're going to sign off with a quiet moment of silence for Grant and wish him well and rest in peace. And we will see the rest of you on Sunday, where we have a really cool
This Sunday.
live show.
This Sunday.
So Grant Muir,
27th.
rest in peace, my friend.
Cheers, Grant.
Three, two, one.